This is day 8 of BonnaH Co Bingo. I just got back from a walk with a friend. I hadn't seen her in a while, so it's nice to get out in the fresh air. It's like almost like a heat wave here because it's what I think in the high 20s or 30s, gonna get a little bit warmer than that even. So it's a great day here. Sunny, gorgeous day to be out. So, but I had to rush back and do this live. So, I am gonna, let's see, somebody's here. Say hello if you feel so inclined in the chat. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm still gonna figure out how to keep the chat open. It disappears when I'm on an iPad, and I think it shows up. It's like always visible when you're on a laptop, but I'm using the iPad, so it's a little different. So Hannah and my experiences are a little bit different during all these demos. But anyway, let's get going. Oh, hi, Sherry. How are you? It is Sherry, right? I'm talking to the right person. Thanks for coming. Yeah, yesterday we got bingo. One of our long in Connecticut is one bingo with a diagonal. Ah, okay. Detached chain and long-tailed daisy. Cool. It's a fun one. Good. I'm glad you're doing great. It's good. I hope you're having a lovely day where you are. Let me get the iPad set up in its spot. Oh. Ooh. Did not sound good. My chair wheel got caught. On the mat and then got stuck. Okay, so let's see where the long-tailed daisy is. I think I might need to move this a little bit. There we go. Okay. Long-tailed daisy and the detached chain. On Hannah's board, I think hers was off the board. It looks like this is her combination of detached chain stitches. So like right there, this little pink flower or bloom is the detached chain. And then here, the green that looks like a leaf and a stem is a long-tailed daisy. Yours is in 15. Ah, so you are on this funny little bird right here. Cool. So yeah, you could use it definitely in, this is literally like a detached chain right there, right? And you can also play around with it in terms of like adding it maybe as wings. Up here you got a few more, or you can just create like a fun little border around or a design of your own on the background. You can also use a detached chain that you pull a little bit tight on the beak to create that shape as well. You can also use them for your feet. So you can use long-tailed daisies for your feet too. So it's pretty versatile. Depending on how long you make that tail and how tight or how loose you pull the tension of your chain, you can get a lot of different looks from it. So it's a fun stitch to do. Yeah, it's a lot warmer in Lake Erie. Good. Yeah, it must be extra cold when you are by the water. Yeah, we're sort of by the water, but not quite. Like, we are a beach town, but I don't live on that side of the town, so it's not as cold. So that's Hannah's detached chain and long-tailed daisy. And let me find where I did mine. It's been a while since I did this sampler, so I gotta figure out where did I put it? Where did I do it? Detached chain. Oh, it's the same one that you have. It's in box 15. And when I was doing this one, when I finished, I thought, I showed it to Hannah, like it reminds me of a pineapple. I just kind of went crazy and did it all over. I think I started with the tail. So I did a whole bunch of long-tailed daisies to do the tail. Um, Actually, I probably started with one chain. If I think about it now, it probably was just the detached chain. And then as I went a little wild and did it all over the place, I ended up feeling like the tail needed to have a little more pizzazz after I had done this funny little crown on the top. That was just supposed to be like the plume feathers, like fluff on the top of its head. I used it here to make a wing, and then I did some just single detached chains as like little patterns on as chest feathers. You know, sometimes they have like spotted feathers. That's what it reminded me of. And what I did on this one was I used one color to do all the tacking stitches and then wove under them to make the actual chain. So that's one way that you can approach your detached chains if you want to add other colors to them or mix colors. Okay, so let's see. Let's find where we have it on our board. I had to run my hands under some hot water when I got home because even though it's warmer here, after being out for a long walk, it got kind of, my fingers got a little frozen. I had forgotten my gloves at home. So they were a little cold, and I was like, I got to warm up my hands so they'll be able to move my fingers in order to do the demo. So detached chain long-tailed daisy for us is in number 1. So that's going to be the hummingbird for us. And I'm going to go back to my trusty little 3-inch hoop. I love this hoop. I think Hannah gave me this hoop. It's like a vintage hoop. But it works great. It's just the right size for little, stitching up little areas. Oh, get that tension going. Yeah, hi Hannah. Yeah, that's what I remember you telling me, that it was like a yard sale hoop that your mom had gotten. So thank you to Hannah's mom. Okay, let's get that in here, tighten it up. And the only thing about me using a teeny tiny little baby hoop like this is that I end up having to manage a lot of the extra thread. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll this up again. Hannah says, Bonnie, do you remember how many people we said, hold on, could do the Brookfield? No, I don't know. I don't remember, but we're going to be doing a mending class at the Brookfield Library in Connecticut. I don't remember. It must be somewhere in our emails. Hannah handles our correspondence for the most part, and I handle the design. I feel like 15 sounds good to me too. 15 sounds good. That's a good manageable number that everyone can get the attention they need. So it's not anywhere. Oh my gosh, that's so weird. I don't know, and I can't check right now. So Hannah, stop distracting me. All right, anyway, I will get back to you after the demo, hopefully, if I can figure it out. Maybe I've got it written down somewhere. But anyway, let's see about the detached chain. I don't think I need to demo it on the white today because it's a pretty good beginner stitch. And it's just, like I said, you can do it as just a regular chain. They look like little teardrop shapes, and they have a little tacking stitch that holds that loop. So you start here, you come up from the back, and then you make a little loop around, sink the needle back in around that same point, and then you hold the loop open, you come up in the middle of it, and then you jump up and over the hoop to hold it down. And as you pull, it's going to it's going to, well, actually before you tack it, you're going to pull up and down to kind of close up the loop and bring it to the surface of your fabric. And then you're going to tack over it just to hold the loop in place. So that's a detached chain. And that's how you would do it more in like a sewing method. But you can also do it in a weaving method, as I mentioned, where I used it in the chest feathers to make kind of those little spots, is you can start with just a tacking stitch, and then you come up and you weave under it and then go back down like that. You just need to make sure that that tacking stitch is long enough that you can get your needle underneath to weave it. And then the variation would just be a long-tailed daisy, which means when you tack it, you're going to do a longer stitch. So that's like the tail, and the length of that just is up to you. Okay, so let me show you. I mean, if you want me to show you on the fabric, let me know. Otherwise, I will jump into the bird. That's the benefit of when you do get to, you're able to join us for the lives, because then you can kind of guide how the demo goes if you need to see something more clearly. So, oh, and I hear sniffing. My cat is here. Hi, Mochi. My sweet kitty is here. I better close something up so she can get into it. All right. So, let's think about design-wise on my hummingbird. I could try a super long one for the beak here. Could do them some tail feathers. So I think what I'll do is combination. I'll do some, maybe the chest feathers here, a long detached on the beak, then some long-tailed daisies maybe on the tail feathers. We'll see. It may go even more than that depending on how things are going, how I'm feeling about it. But let me find, where did I just put my needles? Get my needles. Wait, someone else is here too. Okay, well, welcome. Whoever is here, you can be watching quietly as well. You don't have to join us in the chat if you don't want to. So let's see. I'm gonna start with making the beak. I'm gonna do like a stretched out detached chain. I'll pull a strand of the black. Like I said, hopefully my fingers are going to cooperate today and work because they were a little cold before. Oh, hi, Aubrey. No worries. No need to apologize for being late. I'm glad you're here. Happy to have you. So I pulled, ooh, where did the paper go? Here. Detached chain, long-tailed daisy. I can't remember if we had this last year. Do you remember, Hannah, if this is a repeat from last year, this stitch? All right, so there's a little, ooh, let me make sure I'm in focus or in view. There's a little hook on the end of this beak. Trying to think. Let me see if I can actually incorporate that hook. Oh, I'm gonna come in from the back, sorry. I'm gonna come in from the end of it. Am I go here or the other way? Let me think about this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start here. We did not. Oh, so we took a break from this one. But this is definitely an important stitch to know. Use it a lot. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is, let me think. I want to try to see if I can incorporate this hook. So I make my little loop. I'm gonna reinsert the needle instead of at, usually you go right around that same spot. I'm gonna stop it or reinsert the needle a little bit above so that this one can kind of wrap around. We'll see if that works. Let's try it. And then you keep this loop open. You come up inside the loop. Okay, so here's your loop and here's your needle. inside the loop, and you're going to pull up and down towards the fabric so that you bring that loop, you tighten up the loop and you bring it down to the surface of your fabric. Okay. And then, so depending on how tight you pull, it will close up that loop. Okay. I'll make some more later so you'll get a better idea, but I think that worked out pretty well. Actually, it gave me a teeny tiny hook on the end. So this is one way you can sort of adjust the shape of the point. All right, and then, so what's important is now this working thread needs to jump over to hold down the loop. So in a sense, it's almost couching it. It's like it has to, you know how like if you take a stapler, right? The staple has to go over that piece so it holds it down. So that's what it's doing. That little tacking stitch is holding that little loop down. Okay. I know it's hard to see because it's in black, but I'm going to switch to some other colors too. So that's one. That's a detached chain, one version of a detached chain. And then let's knock this off. Let's switch colors. I think these scissors are getting a little dull, like Hannah said. We took them along on one of our Stitch and Stroll field trips to New York City, and we used them as like a group shared scissors, so they've been through a little bit. So it could be from that, but yeah, get them sharpened. So let me think, what other color should we do? I'm thinking maybe, maybe I will make some tacking stitches with the pink, and then weave through maybe with the turquoise. Let's see how that looks. So again, when you're doing the weaving version of it, you just want to make sure that your tacking stitch is long enough that you can get your needle underneath it. So that's something to consider, right? If you were trying to do a whole bunch of them, and or you wanted to have the look of a detached chain, but you really wanted to emphasize just that teardrop shape and have your tacking stitch almost be invisible, then this method of the weaving way of making it is probably not your best bet. You would want to do the sewing version, which I will do again in another section of the bird. But so let's do a couple of tacking stitches here. So again, I'm making tacking stitches in pink and just making sure they're long enough that I'll be able to get my needle through it later. One little design tip, it's more of a drawing tip. If you want something to feel more round, instead of following the grid straight across, you would make it a little bit curvier. So what I mean by that is if I want that belly of the hummingbird to feel more round and three-dimensional, the grid becomes more like this. So your lines kind of do something like that, right? And it gives it more of like a full belly effect. So I'm going to kind of drop this tacking stitch down a little bit to create more of that curve. And then I'll kind of come back up on this side. Okay, so I'm going to have this tacking stitch here. Do I want it to go this direction? I think I'll have it go in this direction. Yeah, and then I'll do maybe in the middle, in between here. Maybe a little baby one here. we had, it's so weird that the weather is warm right now because earlier this morning, our kids had a delay because of the ice and the cold. It was very slick this morning, I guess, on the roads. And I didn't even know there was a delay because I am a late sleeper. So I was in bed and then I heard rattling at the door. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Someone's trying to break in. I looked at the time because I'm like, wait, there shouldn't be anybody rattling at the door at this time. Yeah, 2 hour delay was amazing, except I thought someone was breaking in. It was my daughter leaving the house and locking up the door. But that's how I found out about the delay. Yeah, so I do sleep in. Hannah's well aware of me sleeping in. Most of my friends know that I tend to sleep in, but I also stay up rather late. So it's not that I'm sleeping my whole day away, it's just that my whole clock has shifted. But yeah, it's like, who's breaking in? Why is there somebody rattling at my door? And one of my friend who I was taking a walk with had texted me and said, oh, this delay is messing up my schedule. Can we walk a little later? I said, I can, but I need to make sure I'm back in time for my, for bingo. And so we decided to go a little bit later on our walk instead. And so she, at the end of her message, she said, you can go back to bed now. See, my friends know me very well. So anyway, so I've made my little pink tacking stitches, and now I'm gonna make the little teardrop shape. I'm gonna weave under. So I came up above that tacking stitch, and I can push in the back with my finger to kind of make a little hill that gives me something to press my needle against, being careful not to split the tacking stitch, okay? You can also try to go eye end underneath, but it just depends how small your stitch is. I'll show it both ways. So I went underneath that pink tacking stitch, and then you're gonna loop back around and then put the needle back in where it came out. And so depending on how much you pull, you will close up that little teardrop shape. So what I mean, let me pull it a little bit more. So you see when I pull it tight, see how it closes it up? So if you don't like that look, or you're going for a look a little bit more open, then just see how I just took the eye end needle, I tugged it back up, and then you can kind of zhuzh it in place the way you want it. All right, so let's do it again. Go over to this side. And this time, let me see if I can fit the eye end. I'll turn my needle around. This is like got a big eye on it, so it might be a little tight, okay? But then again, it does still help to push in the back with your finger, so you have something to press down on the surface of the fabric to glide it underneath that tacking stitch. So this time I glided it eye end. And it doesn't matter which direction you weave it under. So if you come up on this side and you want to go from left to right, you can do that. Whatever feels comfortable. That's what works, right? That's pretty much our philosophy in any of the stitching. What feels comfortable, what feels right, that's the way you should do it. All right, so now do another one here. So I was looking it up to see if there was a way for me to keep the chat from disappearing. And most people said they will have a second device going that has the chat constant, like watch from another account, I guess, maybe. But I can't. That's just, I only have like my phone to do that, and it's so tiny. It'd probably be more of a distraction. So I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna every now and then tap to check the chat that I didn't miss anything. But yeah, it's way too much for my brain. And after Monday's demo, my brain is still recovering. Yeah, Hannah said, I am definitely a night owl, 100%. And I think I've passed that on to my daughter, unfortunately. Look how pretty. Yeah, I mean, everybody has a clock, their natural clock. And I think I come from a line of night owls because my parents also stay up late. My mom, now that she's retired, it's much easier for her. It doesn't matter. But before, she'd have to get up early. And so it's very hard. It's very hard to, ooh, this one, I made this tacking stitch really small. It was hard for her because she'd have to try to get up. Okay, now that's a problem. But that's okay because I have a smaller needle here. And we'll try it with the smaller needle and see how that works. So that's a good example of why it's important to keep your tacking stitches big enough. I was trying to hide it because I didn't want to see it. Let's see. That's better. Come on, baby, you can do it. There we go. Little pop. Now, if that did not work, the other thing you could try, you didn't have like another needle that was thinner, is you could also try your, hi Arlene. Arlene, today is the, oh, where did it go? How my little sign keeps disappearing. I am using the pearl cotton, the size 8 pearl cotton. So alternatively, if you did not have another needle and you happen to have a wire needle threader, you could try that to get it through if you've made your tacking stitch accidentally too small. That's another way around it. There's always a way to figure things out, right? For a while I was listening to, she's like a business entrepreneur expert, motivational speaker, Marie Forleo, and she has a book called Everything is Figureoutable, and I do feel that way. You can always figure things out, and sometimes that just means you have to undo something, right? But try to think outside the box and use tools that are not necessarily, you know, like use them beyond what their basic function was meant for. So, for example, where's my needle threader? Oh, here. So what you could do is take your wrist, just a typical wire threader, and slide it underneath. If I can get it there. Slide it underneath the tacking stitch, right? And then you would put your thread in here, in the little loop. Hold on. It's fiddly. Get in there. Okay. So you would put that thread through the threader and then pull it. See? And you could do that. So it's just like threading a needle. It's like the eye of the needle, except the eye happens to be your tacking stitch. Yeah, and Hannah had said, yeah, it's such a good thing to remember about being able to figure things out and thinking outside the box and like flexible thinking, right? Okay, so there's a little bit of some chest bling on our little hummingbird. And then let's do another version. How long do we want this demo to be? Ay, ay, ay. My brain is, creative juices are flowing. There's stuff going on in my head. So, but that's okay. I have time. So, if you have time, I have time. Let's do this. So one thing about variegated threads, if we hadn't talked about it yet, I can't remember if we've already mentioned it. What's fun about it is the surprise, right? Like that it's lots of different colors. You don't really know what you're going to get, what's going to pop up in which section of your stitching. You have a certain degree of control over it. If you had a preference, so this strand here, one side is pink, one side is starting with more of the purpley color. If I want my stitches to start with the purpley color, I'm going to put the knot on this end. Okay, so I will thread on the pink side. Oh, good. Yay. I'm glad Hannah says she's just working, so she's okay with me continuing. So feel free to stay for the whole thing, or if you need to pop out, you can pop out. Maybe what I'll do is demonstrate the long-tailed daisy first, so you've seen both, and then I will go about stitching the rest of the stuff, and then you guys can stick around or watch the replay or whatever. All right? So I'm gonna do a traditional detached chain in this section of the tail, and then, oh, I'm sorry, I hope I stayed in view because I keep forgetting. I keep pulling my elbows back. I need to keep my hands out. So anyway, I'm gonna do a typical traditional detached chain here, and then I think I'm gonna do switch to maybe some long-tailed daisies on that other part of the tail. So for a traditional one, I'm gonna come up here, pull all the way. Ooh, it has a very satisfying pop. Pull all the way so your knot is all the way against the back. And then I'm a righty, so I swing around like this. I make like a rainbow, right? Yay. I'm glad you're gonna be here, Arlene. Thank you. I'm gonna make that sort of rainbow shape. So this is like an upside down teardrop, okay? And then I'm going to put my needle back in. And what you're gonna wanna do is, because your knot is there, you might need to, with your finger, pull the knot away, okay? Because you don't wanna pierce through the knot. That's not gonna work out well for you. It's gonna get caught, okay? So pull that. And the other thing you can do is even pull the knot totally away before you go back in. And then once you have your needle situated like back in the fabric, you can tighten back up the knot, okay? Where am I now? Okay, so then I've gone back in, and one thing you can do is rock your needle back. Oops, that's a teeny tiny one. I need a little longer. Rock your needle back like this. Is it dark? Can you guys see okay? Because I think the sun went behind a cloud. Is it cloudy? Let me know in the chat if you feel like I need to turn on a light. Okay, so I'm gonna rock the needle back and push it in, and I'm gonna have that working thread go underneath the needle. Okay, and then pull the needle all the way. Okay, good. I'm glad the light is good. Got caught in my hardware. Right, so I'm gonna pull all the way now and then pull up and down towards the surface of the fabric. Okay, so that's how you would make a traditional sort of sewing method. And again, if you pull tighter, it closes up that loop, makes it a narrower chain. And then my tacking stitch is gonna go over the loop and close it up. Maybe I should have started with the pink actually, so that you could see it against the purple, but yeah, let's do some more. It's okay. So I'll do it again. So now you can see it. Pink comes up at the point of your teardrop shape, go back in, and then I'll show you the poke and pull method. So this one, I can go back in, and instead of rocking the needle back, I'll just hold that loop open. And whatever you want the length of your chain to be, that's where you're gonna come back up inside the loop. Okay, good. I'm glad the lighting is working for everyone. I'm gonna come back inside the loop, right? Pull the needle, again, up and then down towards the surface of the fabric. And the reason you're pulling it down towards the surface of the fabric is so that you don't end up pulling it too tight, and then once you tack it, it ends up puckering your fabric. Because if you just pull straight up, you end up like this loop gets a little bit tighter than it actually is, and then once you tack it, it stretches it out, and sometimes, like I said, it can pucker the fabric. So if you do have an issue with that, just pull the loop, like loosen it back up. Okay. I'm a very tight stitcher, so this is one of the things I have to be careful of is the tension, so that when I get it out of the hoop, it doesn't pucker. So tension is something that as stitchers we want to be very much mindful of. Okay. So that's the poke and pull. You come up inside and then you just need to make sure you jump over that little loop to hold it down. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna do one more. I'm trying to think how I want to design this. I want the tail to go past here. Maybe this one's going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to start down here. So this one, I'm going to do a long-tailed daisy now. The chain is going to go in this direction, like this one. Okay, so I'm going to start at the point of my tail, come up, and then go back in at the point, and I'll rock my needle back for this one. Okay, and then I'm going to slide the working thread, that's the little loop, underneath the needle. So let me show that again. Okay, come under and back around, and then push the needle through, pull up and down. And then on this one, I think I could just extend it. So now instead of a tiny tacking stitch, you're going to decide how long you want your tail to be. So I'm going to go up about here. Okay, so that's the long-tailed daisy. I mean, you can do them all kinds of ways. You can even make your tail feathers longer. So let's say even if I decide to add a couple sort of sprays, let's see how this looks. I'm gonna make like a long one, and then I'm gonna make a tail. And I'll decide if I like it or not. It's kind of cute. Why not? Let's try it. But I like to do things in odd numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these on the tail. I'm gonna add another one, maybe in here. Little baby one. And I'm just kind of overlapping them. They're all jammed in there. That's okay. Just gives you a little more texture. Pull up and down this time. And you can preview where the tail goes. Just pull it down and see where it is, where you like it, what angle, see? And then I'm like, okay, I like it over here. So I'll poke my needle back in at that point, and that gives you a little more control, lets you see where it is. Vapor is coming. Oh, Hannah is dog sitting, and Vapor is such a cute doggy. He's such a sweet little doggy. I love Vapor. Is he gonna be there tomorrow when we meet? I hope so. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There's 5, but it's still bothering me. I'm not feeling the balance, so I'm gonna do another one. Yay, I'm so excited. We're gonna get to see Vapor tomorrow. Woohoo! Vapor's like the perfect little doggy. Such a good temperament. So sweet. Okay, so I'm gonna add another long-tailed daisy right in here. Like that. Okay. So there we have the tail. And then now I think I'll show you a little bit how you can build the wings. Because I'm having fun. I'm chilling. I think I remembered to turn off silence all my notifications. I think I got everything okay. We figured out what was the problem with the live last time is since I'm on an iPad, it's YouTube mobile. And so when Hannah schedules it on a laptop, I'm not allowed or I'm not able to start it. It's kind of strange. You'd think it's all from the same account and whatever, but it didn't work that way. So, does this bother anyone else? I feel like I need one here. I know what I'll do. Let's see. I'm going to turn a detached chain into a long-tailed daisy. I'm going to borrow this chain, the purple one, the first one I made over here. And I'm going to make the tail down in here. And then I'm going to put my needle inside the loop as if this were its tacking stitch. Could open up the loop though. Okay. Okay, and then you can see I'm getting a tiny bit of puckering. I'm probably pulling a little too hard. I think I like that better. Okay. We're starting to play a little bit of thread chicken here, but got this. Was I saying something before? And then I stopped because I got distracted with a design thing. Right. Okay. So that's what the variegated looks like when you don't mess up the threads. You leave all the strands as is, right? So now I think I'm gonna switch to this one because I feel like this one hasn't had enough screen time. We want to give all our threads equal love, right? Okay, so this one, let's do this. Let me show you. So this one I've cut it, one side is more pink and the other side is more blue. And I want the variegation to be a little bit more all over, like not as defined. So this should be a full 6 strands, though for some reason it looks like it's less. Okay, so I'm going to strip this, separate them. Oh, maybe it was a strand that was cut and then 2 strands taken from it and then we stuck it back on our bobbin. Yeah, because there's only 4 here. Right, that's okay. Doesn't really matter. All right, so I've stripped them all and then I'm going to switch them up. So now I'm going to match like opposite sides. Right, so here's like, can you see it? They're blue here, pink here. You know, line them back up. These are for the really, if you're a stitcher who is extremely particular about how you want to control your colors, this, you know, this is what you can do. You certainly don't have to. And then I'll turn this one around. Did I do that right? Oh, Mochi's back. What, sweetheart? What you need, kitty? Huh? You need pets? Yes? Okay. All right, so I've got 2 going in one direction and the other 2 going in the other direction. Let me look at this. I feel like one of them is still going in the wrong. I need another green one. going in this direction. There we go. And are you like, what in the world is she doing? Oh. Okay. So now I've kind of messed them all up and rearranged them. So I got 2 in one direction, 2 in the other direction, and now the colors are a little more distributed. So you match them all back up, thread them. Oh. They might be a little harder to thread because you had to pull them all apart. Okay, make my knot. All right. Wings. So one thing you could do, I think what I'll have is the pink kind of on the tips of this, and then the, is that how I want to do it? Let me think about how I want to do this. I want to make some here at the base, and then I want some like longer. Okay, so here, I'm going to start from the point. I'm going to come in inside, pull up and down, and I'm going to fan these out. So you're going to kind of go like this. I feel like I need music. I don't have any music going on here. Okay, so again, you gotta make sure that needle comes inside the chain, pull up and down. Then I'll continue to fan it out. So they're all sort of radiating out from here. I don't know if you can see it, but the variegation is much softer and more subtle. And you see it kind of in every single stitch. And you can certainly do the sewing method for this. I'm definitely more of a poke and pull stitcher, so that's why you see me kind of doing it the way I am, but if you wanted to sew it, you could certainly do that. So let's see, there's 4 there, let's do 1 more here. So I'll come up, come around, needle back in at the point, rock it back. I'm going to see the angle. And this actually, you can kind of see the angle of the stitch too. So if you are doing a radial design, you'll kind of see the angle that you'll be making the tacking stitch. Make sure the working thread goes underneath your needle and then push it through. And then make your tail. So that's the long-tailed daisy. Yeah, I kind of like that. Wait, who are we talking about? Hannah said his content is very cute and fun in a charming way. What are we talking about? Is this the tea thing from last night? Are you guys having a side conversation in the chat room that I don't even know about? Look. What? Look above. Look above in the chat. Is that what you're talking about? Oh, I can't. It's too distracting. I don't see your other chat. That's weird. I don't see your other chat. I don't know, is it another iPad thing, but the tea. Yes, I remember about the tea. Last night's thing about the tea. Is there another chat right now that's happening about tea? I don't know. I must be missing something because of the iPad, but I don't know. Are you guys okay with me staying on the iPad? Vapor? Vapor doesn't make content. Vapor just makes cuteness. Yeah, the tea guy that she was talking about last night. That's what she's talking about. Okay, so I've got my long-tailed daisies here, and then I'm gonna do some detached chains here. Oh, you said you tagged him and he wrote back. I didn't realize that. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. All right, here's another strand that I pulled. So this one I'm not going to bother to split it. I will just show you. This one is pretty much, I think I'll just thread this side. Oh, that's cool. What did he say back? Is that something you can say here? Okay, so if you're making like feathers, again, I think we talked about this before, but you can offset them in sort of a brick-like pattern. So kind of like this. And then the next one can go like this, and like this, and like this, or however many, but it'll offset. It goes like in between, right? So if I wanted to do that here at the base of the base of this wing, I guess I'll start it here. Bye, Hannah. Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow whenever I wake up. All right. So these I'll do the sewing method. And again, when you first start, you're going to want to pull that knot away in the back. And then I'll rock the needle back. Go around. So I think yesterday, day 7, was the earliest we've ever had bingo. So that's pretty cool. But never fear, the fun continues because now we're going for border bingo. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple, again, radiating out. So almost like a flower. So this is another good stitch, a detached chain, and even the long-tailed daisy. They're great for flowers, right? I mean, lazy daisy, they also call a detached chain a lazy daisy stitch. So it kind of tells you it's a great one for flowers, flower petals, for leaves. Oh, thanks, Arlene. Arlene says she's fascinated by the design. That's fun. I'm glad I kind of show you another way. And you can see it, like you can see my crazy design brain in action in real time. But let's think about if if we wanted to do it in another way. Arlene, where's yours? Do you have it on the board or is it outside? If anybody needs design tips or wants design tips, just share where you're at on the board, and I can look to see which bird that is, or if it's off the board, what you might do. I'm happy to do that. Okay. Oh, you're off the board. Oh, that's okay. It just gives you the flexibility to do whatever you want with it, right? Yeah. What I did on one of mine off the board, I had the crown stitch off the board on this one, and I ended up doing it as like grass or like kind of, I was imagining this bird poking its head up through the bushes or something like that. So I was trying to create greenery. And the same thing here, I had the fan stitch off my board, and I decided to make it like the leaves in the tree where the nest might be. But you don't ever have to take it literally. You can just really do your own thing. Just try to have fun with it. So that's my biggest design tip, is to have fun with it. Don't be afraid to experiment. Okay, so what I've got here are 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and I'm gonna then put 3 in between. So the tacking stitch is gonna kind of go in between. I hope I have enough thread because I'm getting close. I might have to get a new thread. Okay, so I'm gonna come up sort of between those two in the previous row, and then I've just moved that working thread underneath. Okay, and then tack it. And so you're building these layers like brick by brick, basically. This is how much thread I have left. I'm gonna try one more. I'm probably gonna regret it, but I'm gonna try one more. So now I'm gonna rock it back, and I wanna go in between these two here. Oh, hold on. Get under there. Okay, and then tack it. And look, I took my needle and I'm just gonna kind of go right down that alley there. Pull to the back. Okay, and then I'm not gonna attempt the last one. It's a pain because I only want to make that one more. So one thing you could do is just take this off and thread it. I think I have enough to make a knot, but in case you don't, I will show you this other little tip. You can just separate them in the back, remove your needle, and you can just do a square knot. To make the knot in the back. You can do a second one if you need to. And just like you can use your needle threader to pull your thread underneath the tacking stitches, you can also use it to make knots. I think I've shown that in previous years, but maybe for anybody new, let's reshare this tip because it's a good one to know. If you tend to like to play thread chicken like me, this is a good tip to know. So yes, I already have a knot, but I'll show you what you can do if you didn't. You can take your threader and go underneath a stitch. I'm gonna do like a tight spot here. I need to find there. Go underneath a stitch, put your thread through it. I'm sorry if it's not clear to see because there's a lot of stuff going on in there and my hand's blocking it. Pull it under. Hold this loop open though, okay? And then you can stick it under the loop. If you can't get your fingers in there, you can again use your threader. So I'll go through the loop, stick the thread ends through the, make sure it's not split. Stick the thread ends through the threader wire. There you go. and then pull it and then tug on it. And that's another way you can make a knot if you like to play thread chicken like me. Okay, so I do want to put one more stitch in here to finish the wing, but that's one way you can kind of build out a wing, or if you chose to, you could also do that for feathers. But I do think it's a lovely way to approach making the wings. All right, so let's get, oh, I have a little knot in this skein. Let me get there. Thank you. Have you tried that technique before, Sherry? I don't remember how I landed on that technique, but I've found it very helpful. Oh, I'm glad I was able to share something new with you. Awesome. Because I just did a pink one, I want the blue to show up first, so I'm gonna thread on the pink side of this variegated strand I just cut, and I'll put the knot on the blue end so that I know I'm making my next chain with the blue. So one more here. Oh good, I'm glad it's helpful. Again, I'm going to pull the knot out of the way. Go back in. And now I'm coming up in between those two from the previous row. Again, make sure the needle is above your working thread. The thread's going to loop underneath the needle. Pull up, down, and tack it down. I think the hummingbird might be one of my favorite ones. I didn't know the one where you split the threads. Oh, good. Yay. So 2 new tips for different people. I love it. Okay. So it's very textural too. You can see it's pretty raised up. It's pretty thick because you're kind of layering on top of each other and building on top. But this is one way you can kind of create a wing. I do wish I had changed the angle of this and followed this a little straighter, but I'm gonna let it go because I'm practicing my, you know, I'm in my recovery of perfectionism. So I'm gonna let that one go. The rest of it I'm pretty happy with. I could add, again, maybe one more of this color one in here, but I didn't have enough thread to do that either. So I think I'm gonna leave it, and we'll just leave that one in the back. But yeah, so this is the detached chain, traditional way, weaving way, and then the variations, a long-tailed daisy just with a longer tacking stitch. I think that's about it, unless anybody has any questions. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. You get both of us tomorrow, so that'll be fun. We'll see what stitch we get for tomorrow. But yeah, Thursdays are always fun because you get to see our antics, the two of us together. Thank you so much for coming. Enjoyed the company. Hope you enjoyed the demo, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. And we'll see you tomorrow. All right? See ya.